moment because I have to switch over my technology. All right, so the next session, we're going to be talking about integrative health, specifically mind, body, spirit, and thinking about God's vision for holistic well-being. So I talked about the 8 dimensions of wellness, and we're going to make sure that we integrate that with God's vision for that holistic well-being. So Rachel Ann, she is a life coach dedicated to guiding Christian women of color on the journey to uncover their authentic selves. This is healing the past, grounding the present, and enriching the future. As a Black and Indigenous woman and child of immigrants, Rachel faced challenges that made her feel alone and misunderstood. These experiences now inform her work as she designs mindset and wellness programs that promote self-sufficiency, healthy coping, and mindfulness. She holds dual master's degrees, come on, educated woman, in counseling psychology from Columbia University. And she's based in New York City with her husband and 3 beloved plants. Rachel enjoys boba tea, puppies, and cozy moments with a good book. Please join me in welcoming up Rachel Ann as she talks to us about holistic well-being.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jordan. Thank you so much to everybody who is here. I love this atmosphere, and I am so grateful that y'all do what it is that you are doing. The kingdom needs this. The world needs this. We, as people from all different identities and backgrounds, we need this. So, firstly, can we just put in the chat clapping emojis, fun emojis to say thank you to Dr. Jordan and her team for following the vision that God gave her? Because we don't always say yes sometimes, right? When God tells us to do something, but they did. And so I am so grateful. And I'm excited to chat with y'all for like a hot second about some integrative health. How do we put these things together, right? Dr. Jordan taught us about one of my favorite things, the 8 dimensions of wellness. But it's like, okay, cool. How do we put this together? What does this actually look like in my life as a human being? So that's one of the things that I hope to do today. In a moment, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to chat for a few minutes together, y'all. We're going to get real. We're going to journal. We're going to breathe together because we are here together in this space. So I'm going to, there we go. In the chat, or you can unmute. Can you let me know if you can see my screen okay?
Yep, we can see your screen.
Beautiful. We love when technology wants to be my friend. Alrighty, so today we're going to have a little chit chat about mind, body, spirit. What does it mean for us to understand God's vision for holistic well-being? Like Dr. Jordan just introduced me, my name is Rachel Ann. I used to be a psychotherapist. I did some work in higher ed communities and DEI work, and now I'm a holistic life coach. It's a very long story. Hit me up and we could talk about it. But everything that I'm sharing with you here, it's a combination of things that I've actually studied, things that I've actually practiced with folks, and things that I actually do myself. I am based in New York City, but your girl be traveling. So hit me up. Let's hang out. Let's grab a coffee wherever you're at. And today, I'm so excited that as we are with our coffees and our teas and our waters, we're going to talk about specifically those 3 dimensions, the emotional wellness, the physical wellness, and the spiritual wellness. We're going to focus on those 3. We're going to talk about why those areas are actually really difficult to do work in. So if you were listening to Dr. Jordan, you're like, ooh, this is really hard. You're not alone. You are not alone. We're going to practice some mindfulness together. This is one of our favorite ways to integrate these different aspects of wellness. And then we're going to have some journaling time. Your girl loves to journal. I came through with prompts, y'all. So get ready to do all of that. So mental and emotional wellness. Dr. Jordan broke it down for us. And something that I want to highlight is that as we are living in that state of emotional and physical well-being that is reflecting God's truth, God's peace, and God's purpose, the goal isn't really perfection. And we know that because God doesn't actually demand that we be perfect. God doesn't sit there and say, hey, you need to do this, 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 and it needs to look perfect. What God says is, I am with you in the storm. I know that you will have trials and tribulation. I know that you will have difficult moments. I will be with you in those moments. And so when we think about our mental and emotional wellness, we are not working from a place of wanting God to love us. So therefore, we do these things. It's instead, we're working from a place that says, because we know we are loved by God, that motivates us to move forward in the various aspects of our wellness. So I want us to kind of imagine that mindset. If we were to embody and start with the starting point of our thoughts and our feelings is, I am already being loved by God. How would that change the way we look at our peace? We look at God's truth. We look at our relationships. So that's something that is important for us to keep in mind as Christians. This is very hard. It's hard to do because we are in a sinful world filled with lots of awful, horrible catastrophes and violent things. It's also difficult because the world that we live in, that we are constantly submerged in, and we're trying to figure out our way, it does not align with God's definition of wholeness. So we are constantly battling. We're constantly battling our thoughts and our feelings and our trauma and our experiences. We're constantly battling what the world is asking of us and is telling of us. We're also battling, sometimes we've learned unhealthy things from our families, our cultures, our church spaces sometimes, right? If we could get real about that. Unhealthy stuff is in all different types of contexts. And so what we want to remind ourselves, especially when we're like battling with societal expectations, is that society emphasizes externalism. It emphasizes what you do on the outside and how you present yourself. But that's not God's way, y'all. If you know that's not God's way, I'll put it in the chat and tell me what God's way is. It's internal. It's a soul transformation. God cares about the inside of us. And so, as we think about our mental and emotional wellness, let's be reminded that as we are breaking generational trauma and breaking generational cycles, that as we are embodying God's truth and peace and purpose, it is from a place of already being loved, which means that we can approach his throne with confidence, like the word says, right? In Isaiah, it says that we are created by God for a purpose, right? In Job, we see a beautiful example of what it means to be honest and transparent with the Lord during one of the most difficult times in his life. And so, as we think about our mental and emotional wellness, let's take off that mask that says that we need to look good for God. And instead, let's put on that realness, who we actually are, and present it to the Lord, knowing that we're already loved and knowing that He wants to be with us in the storm. He wants to be with us in our sanctification and our wellness journeys. So, we have our mental and emotional. Now let's talk about our physical. Dr. Jordan, that was one of the best explanations of 8 dimensions of wellness I've ever seen. So I'm not going to repeat it, y'all, because she did a good job. But when we think about our physical wellness, we're thinking about, okay, what does it look like for me to eat well, to nourish my body well? This body that the Lord has given me, that is a temple, what does that mean for me to nourish it well? So, what does it mean for me to rest? What does it mean for me to avoid those unhealthy habits? On the left side of your screen, you'll see a few scriptural reminders of various places in the Bible. There's a lot more, but I was like, let's not overwhelm everybody. But some reminders of what does it mean for God to show up and meet our bodily needs. Sometimes we just needed a nap. Sometimes we just need a little snack. Sometimes we just need a little woo-saw in the corner, y'all. But these things are hard to do. Yes, because of generational trauma and cycles that we're breaking, but also because we're busy, y'all. We're busy. And being in a sinful world, like we just spoke about, we misuse, I should also say misunderstand what physical health. We've misunderstood what numbers actually matter, right? This was something that I was reminded of. I, like many women in the United States of America, have a diagnosis of PCOS. And so I was like, okay, I need to get my weight down, my weight, my weight. And my nutritionist and my doctor were like, actually, Rachel, what we care about is your A1C. What we actually care about is your cholesterol levels. Like, cool, like weight, yeah, like that's a great goal to have. But when we're talking about the functions of your body, I care about your blood test results more than what the scale says. And that was such a shift for me because growing up, I learned, oh, if I'm any type of unhealthy, that means a girl's got to lose some weight. And what I learned through talking with my doctor and my nutritionist is that those are actually unhealthy and inaccurate ways of looking at our physical wellness. And so there's a little bit of a mindset shift here as well with our physical wellness. Lastly, we have our spiritual wellness, and it doesn't necessarily have to correlate to a religion. But I will say, as Christians, it's extra awesome for us because in our spiritual wellness, when we're finding the meaning of life, when we're exploring our sense of belonging, we're doing that with a structure, with freedom, and with the glory of God next to us to guide us and do that. We're not left alone to explore all of these things. And so it's hard. Yes, because we're busy. And yes, because we live in a world that prioritizes all types of things that are not actually in depth or humility, which are values of our spirituality. But I want to highlight a third kind of new-ish reason why, which is, y'all, we've experienced some hard things in churches sometimes. We've experienced some difficulty in Christian spaces sometimes. And so we can be aware of that and we heal in community. There's a really common phrase that I hear a lot. We may have been hurt in a church, but we can be healed in another church. And so, if you're listening to this, if you're tuning in and you're like, wow, I really am struggling in my spiritual life because of some hardship that I have experienced, because of some traumatic experience that I had in a church or context setting, I want you to know that you are not alone in that. There are lots of people who have similar experiences in that. And more than that, God is with you in the healing of that and wants to find spaces for you to be whole with Him. There's no pressure, there's no timeline on what it looks like to heal from these things. Okay. So that's what it means to integrate those three things. We're going to practice this. It's called a body scan. And this is one of my favorite ways to practice how we can integrate these three things. And a body scan really just asks yourself, it invites you to pause and then to ask yourself these three questions. What am I thinking right now? What are the emotions I'm experiencing right now? And what are the sensations that are happening in my body? We're not doing a deep dive, y'all. Okay. This is not like a, all right, let's like think about my thoughts and trace them to the source. Nope. We are simply acknowledging, we are bringing to our awareness our thoughts, our feelings, and our bodily sensations. And it'll feel weird, but I'm with you. And it gets less weird the more we practice it. So we're going to practice it really quickly together right now. The first thing I want you to do is be in a position that feels comfortable for you. You can have your eyes open, you can have your eyes closed. I'm going to talk you through it so you don't have to look at the screen. You can be sitting, standing, kneeling. And I want you to start to breathe at your own natural pace. Your own natural pace. And for a few seconds, I want you to ask yourself, what am I thinking about right now? What are the thoughts that you're having? Spend a few more seconds thinking about that. And now we're going to go to our emotions. And so ask yourself, what emotions am I experiencing right now? Let's be thinking about that for a few moments. And then we'll go to our last question. What sensations are happening in my body right now? Take a moment to think about that and see what comes up for you. Take note of what those answers were. You can start to bring yourself back to this time that we're here today. It could be opening your eyes, could be stretching. And the last part of the body scan is to respond as needed. There may have been some answers that came up for you. Full confession, every time I do this, I'm reminded that I need to go to the bathroom. So I'm like, okay, we're going to go to the bathroom. We're not going to hold it. We're going to go, right? Sometimes our emotions are stuffed up and are creating tension in our body. Sometimes our thoughts are really fast and there's a lot of them. And so my encouragement to you is to practice this body scan. I mean, if y'all try and be overachievers 3 times a day, but do it at your own pace and know that I am excited that you are taking moments to care for yourself well. And more than that, so is the Lord. So is the Lord. I am going to be mindful of my time slot. And so I would go through some journaling. We're not going to do that today, y'all. I did see in the chat, though, that we will probably be sending stuff out. So I do recommend that you take some moments to journal, right? And connect with God in that way. There's so much research out there about how the practice of journaling relieves stress. It boosts creativity and it helps with our sense of connectedness with our world, with our friends, with our family, and with the Lord. And so I strongly, strongly encourage you to take a few moments to do that. I even have some cute music for you. So all you got to do is show up. And then I am so grateful that I did get the chance to be here with you all. In the chat, I'll put a link. I love to give promo codes and I love to give coupon codes. So I have a journal club membership. I would love y'all to be a part of that. And you get a free month with a code that I'll be sending to y'all. And if there's anything I can do to support you in your journey, email me, hit me up on the gram. I'm kind of on TikTok, kind of not. It's a lot for me, but I am on Threads as well. So I'll put all of that in the chat and I look forward to supporting you in your journey, whatever that